Well, viewers, ahead of the much-anticipated Champions Trophy, there may be some new guidelines for Team India to help increase performance. These possible new guidelines are mainly aimed at curbing the length of time that a player's family or spouse is allowed while the team is on tour. So these guidelines are an attempt to try and enhance the performances of the players after some recent test losses. First, the 3-0 series loss against New Zealand, which was then followed by a 3-1 series defeat to Australia in the Border Gavaskar Trophy. Let's take a look at the possible new guidelines that may come in. Now, this is one of the biggest ones that is likely to bring in a lot of divided views on whether the BCCI should actually bring in these restrictions or not. The wives of the players will not be allowed to stay for the entirety of the tour. The families can only now stay a maximum of 2 weeks if the team is going on a 45-day international tour. That's one of the rules that the BCCI, remember, this is only being mulled, it has not actually been implemented. Apart from that, all the players will have to commute by the team bus and cannot use any other means of transport. This comes amid a lot of speculation reports that suggested that Virat Kohli had also travelled separately. It's not just the players, even the support staff will have some new guidelines. And it says that they can only stay for a maximum of 3 years. They're not going to get an extended time. Now remember, these are some of the rules that are likely to come in. But this is not the first time that the BCCI has tried to impose new guidelines on Team India, and especially one that says that their family members, wives or girlfriends, cannot stay with them for the entirety of the tour. This is an issue that has been spoken of previously as well, and there has been a lot of discussion about it. We also spoke to some of the former cricketers who have spoken about the BCCI thinking of these rules, and some of the cricketers have wholeheartedly agreed, saying yes, this is an important match. Any series that they go for is important, and they can't be spending time with their families. They'll have to make that sacrifice. But let's tell you about the fact that this is not the first time that the BCCI has decided to impose these new guidelines on Team India. In the past as well, they had introduced a family period. It is similar to the new rule where a family can only stay for 45 days. But the old rule did not actually have a fixed number of days and would change depending on what tour they're going for. The rule of wives staying only for a limited time carries over. The BCCI, in fact, even had to bring a rule to say that the families of the cricketers will not be allowed to travel on the team bus. So these were some of the rules that had been spoken of previously as well. Remember, the BCCI has thought of it time and again. There are two sides to it. One that says that this is about discipline. This is a cricket match. It's war that you're going to. So you have to make a few sacrifices. Even if you're being away from home and family, you must agree to it. But on the other side, there are also some who argue that does this put the onus on the family, on the wives and the families of the cricketers? Instead, why not focus on the real problems, which is for the cricketers to be focused and to ensure they play well? Let's open this up, get both sides of the debate as well. Vedam Jaishankar, sports journalist, joining us. We have Chandresh Narayanan, author and sports broadcaster, also joining us. Thank you for joining us, both of you. Vedam, this is a discussion that has happened time and again, but it looks like the BCCI is ready for some tough measures. What do you make of the BCCI's decision to maybe not allow families to go with the cricketers?
I'm actually very surprised that with Roger Binney at the helm, he's the president. He's a former cricketer, and he knows the issues earlier. Earlier also there were problems when he was a player, when they were not allowing wives to go with the team. And they used to have 2 players in a room. Now the Indian team has moved far beyond that. Everybody gets an individual room. Those days only the captain used to get an individual room, and rest of them used to share rooms. Now, for whatever reason, that really didn't work, because some guys like to sleep late, some like to watch X movie or Y movie, and it just didn't work, So they moved away from that and they got into this. In the interim period, we have seen a lot of things. There was Paddy Upton who wrote that manual of sex as a single cricketer. These are things that created a controversy at that time, but a lot of thinking came into sports, whether it was good to have a team, to have a family with the team, because whatever you say, they wanted to get as close as possible to a family life, especially when you go abroad. It was not really working, and some of the things I don't really hold against it, especially traveling, when the teams have, the wives have to travel separately. They did not travel in the team bus. Those kind of things I can understand. But is bonding, if your idea is to make the bonding more secular, is this the only way to ban the family? And let's not forget there are a lot of members of this current Indian team who have got families there on a professional basis. There is Bumrah's wife, who is a professional media person who travels with the team. And what if Anushka Sharma has got a photo shoot the same day or the same days in the same country? What are you going to do? Are you going to ban them from meeting each other? I think it's just leading into a lot of issues. It might have been okay those days when foreign exchange was not so freely available. But now I think many cricketers or many cricketers' wives will find a way to get there. And it will lead to a lot of unnecessary controversy.
Okay, unnecessary controversy and bringing in rules that actually, do they make a difference or not? Chandresh, do you agree with what Vedam has said? Is this, not really about what the families are doing or whether they are with the cricketers or not? Let's discuss the real issues, which is the cricketers and their non-performance.
I think these are all impractical suggestions, and I think I've seen, and Vedam has also seen it in the past, such review meetings and information comes out saying that we have discussed this and we have discussed that. I remember 2007, after that knocked out of the 2007 ODI World Cup, there was a massive review meeting right here in Mumbai. And one of the things that they discussed was we will limit the endorsements of cricketers to 3 products. And everybody said, wow, that's a fantastic suggestion. But it was impractical. You can't limit people from earning their livelihood outside of the field. Such suggestions, and today with social media being so prominent, it's very good clickbait for everybody to enjoy. Oh, we'll ban the wives, we'll limit the wives. These are all impractical suggestions. The fact is you played poorly and you lost. I agree with one thing, that everybody will travel in the team bus, as in the players.
Okay.
The other big thing is that in Australia, there were certain players who were traveling on their own chartered flight. There was no rule implemented on that. Now I want to see in England, where there are no air travel, where there is no air travel involved, they are traveling everywhere by a bus. Does everyone travel on the team bus? I don't think so. These are all suggestions right now. This is January. The next big tour is in June. Even Champions Trophy, there is no internal air travel involved because they are all playing in Dubai. Again, most of these suggestions will not be implemented. So these are all very good talking points for now. This is good
just
fodder
talking
for
points and just headline management, nothing more. I request you to stay with us, and I want to tell our viewers that we also want to hear from you. The numbers are flashing at the bottom of the screens. You can call us and tell us what you think, because we did hear from a lot of viewers after the Border Gavaskar Trophy, and there was a lot of disappointment, a lot of fans saying it looks like the team is not even taking issues seriously. There are many elephants in the room, they are not being solved, and it looks like the BCCI is not really looking at the team performance, but is looking more at the big players. So there are complaints from the viewers as well, from the fans of cricket as well. So we want to hear from you as well. The numbers are on your screens. Do call us and let us know what you think. But Vedam, we spoke to Kirti Azad also a little while earlier, and he said that I agree with the point that these restrictions may be a bit too much, but I agree that the team bonding exercise takes a backseat, because when you have your family members, you go back to your family and you're not really meeting the team. Whereas if you don't have any family there, then you're just bonding with the team throughout. And that really helps on the field as well.
Yeah, see, the bonding is an issue that, you can really talk about it till the cows come home. But bonding can be done in so many ways. There are camps before an event. And even on a tour, if you are wishing to have a bonding, you can have every hour, maybe a meeting for an hour every single day. It's been done. There was time during the Pakistan tour when they used to have some singing sessions so that they could bond together. So I don't believe that bonding, the only way to have bonding is to ban the families. Even otherwise, these days, most of the guys have got friends all over the world. They can just go out after the match and not bother about the team. So to hold the players together only if their families are not around, that sounds a little crazy. I think bonding, yes, bonding is required. A team needs bonding, but there are ways and means of making bonding, not by banning, the wives and the families and making it a little more tense. It's better for a player to be as relaxed as possible, especially in the case of a lot of tension in a hostile country, against hostile teams. You need to have a lot of comfort around you. Comfort is with the people, with the situations, and one of the best ways is with the family. Unless the family is interfering in such a way that you have sick children, sick kids, and those kind of issues. Otherwise, just for the sake of bonding, you want to ban families. It doesn't make sense. It might have been okay about 40, 50 years ago, but in this day and era, with the kind of social media and of course the transportation and the money available with everybody, I don't think it's feasible. It's only going to give way to a lot of controversy, to a lot of stories, to a lot of other things, and that actually can backfire on the team.
Okay, all right. We said that we will listen to what our viewers and the cricket fans across the country have to say as well. We have Ramanna joining us from Tamil Nadu. Thank you for joining us. Good morning. What do you think of this decision that the BCCI is mulling over?
Ma'am, it is not a question of vice chairing or somebody else, but it is a question of selecting the correct person in the form to perform on the day. Because, see, some people like Sanju Samson who likes the ball to come on to bat and he can score fast runs on the track. But those people are left over. And we don't have a best leg spinner in a team. You have an off spinner, but you don't have a leg spinner who could turn the ball on the dry pitches as well as in other pitches. But these people, the selectors are at fault. It's not the players who are at fault. The selectors have to select the correct person.
Okay.
You give me one chance to select a person. See, give L. Sivarama Krishnan to select a leg spinner or give Gavaskar to select a best batsman who couldn't stand. But these people are not given chance. You're having a selector like Ajit Agakar who scored 7 continuous ducks. And how we can get the batsman talent within some time?
Okay, you have raised a very important point. Ramanna ji, you have raised a very important point. Thank you so much for joining us with our views. Chandresh, is this what you were saying in talking about whether or not wives and girlfriends should be allowed with the cricket players or not? Are we actually not looking at the real picture, which is whether the right players have been chosen for the match, whether the heavyweights are underperforming? I mean, these are the conversations that ideally the BCCI should be having, not exactly whether wives and girlfriends should be allowed or not.
I'm sure they are having those conversations. We are only getting to hear what all they discuss. So a few days ago, we heard about what they discussed cricketing-wise. This must have been one of the many issues that they may have discussed. That doesn't mean that it is going to get implemented. And I don't agree with the viewer that, only the players who have played like 100 test matches should be selectors. We have instances of many great cricketers from India who don't even know players who are playing for their own state Ranji Trophy team. Vedam will also bear me out on that. So some of our greatest cricketers don't even know which team is playing in Ranji Trophy. So I don't think we should be wasting our time on whether the cricketer is great as a selector or not, what he did as a player, that doesn't matter. The best, few of the best selectors that India have had in the last 35-40 years are people like Raj Singh Dungarpur, who selected Sachin Tendulkar, and Sanjay Jagdale, who later was instrumental in appointing Anil Kumble as the test captain as well. So I don't think we should get into whether they have played at what level, what they performed. I think the squad that went to Australia was probably the best 16, 17, 18, 19 that you had in the country. I can't think of anyone who was left out. People might say Rahane and Pujara, but we have to move beyond that now. That's an old story. It's just that India failed because our players were not good enough. That's it. We have to move on.
Okay, but is it also an issue of how there are certain people who become bigger than the game? There are a lot of conversations about, say, even Virat Kohli. He has been very unabashed about his relationship, and whether people like it or not, the fact that he is out with Anushka Sharma is going to make news. So is there a sentiment, say, in the BCCI that maybe some people are becoming bigger than the game and, that's weighing down their actual performance on the field?
So Virat Kohli, I have not known on the entire tour of Australia that Virat Kohli missed a training session because he said that I'm going on a date with Anushka Sharma. That has not happened and that will never happen. So let's not get into that. If he goes at 8 p.m. after the training session and everything is done and everybody's gone back to their rooms,
then it's really nobody's business.
That's nobody's business.
Yeah.
And the bigger thing is that, like I said, players not traveling together to the training session in the same team bus, or maybe not traveling to another city on the same flight. That, I think, is a bigger issue, that you need to implement team discipline. That's more important, and team bond. from traveling together, not by traveling on chartered flights. Now that's why I said the next two tours are to UAE and to UK, where the travel is within the country by bus. I want to see the players are traveling on the same bus, or are they going on the separate ways like they did in the 2021 England tour, when players traveled in their own way rather than on the team bus.
Okay, all right. Vedam, do you agree that focus on the real issues? There are a lot of issues that need to be fixed, and families, or whether they are part of it, this or not, is not really the question.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that because, I mean, we need to talk about the game and the cricket and make it the right thing for them to, really perform. And whatever happens, whatever way you have to do that, you have to get it done. Maybe if a family is close to somebody, is going to feel very comfortable. You have to do that. You have to make an environment which is ideal for a cricketer to perform at his peak. Now that is what is required. Not trying to, deny him certain, I wouldn't say rights or privileges.
Very quickly, I want to ask you, Vedam, because we had Atul Vasan earlier who said that, cricketers should be okay with this because there are certain rules for a game like cricket, and if they're not interested, they can feel free to opt out.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy. You can tell that to anybody in any field. If you don't like it, you're free to walk out. You can tell anybody that. But that's not the job of an administrator. An administrator's job is to get the best out of somebody and to ensure that the environment around him is at peak level. And he has to ensure what is the comfort level. Like there's a different strokes for different folks. He has to ensure that what is right for right person. Just to say that, if you don't like it, walk out. I mean, that's the easiest thing to do. Anybody can say that in any field. But that's not the thing to do.
Okay, I very quickly want to hear from Suresh, our viewer joining us from Chennai. Thank you for joining us. What do you think?
Good morning, madam. I'm Suresh from Chennai. What the BCCI has given the rules is right one, madam. Okay?
Okay.
But much is expected of India, so they should follow the rules strictly.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, madam.
Thank you, Mr. Suresh, for joining us. Thanking Vedam Jaishankar as well as Chandresh Narayanan as well for joining us. A lot to talk about on the real conversations also being missed out because the focus being on this new decision that the BCCI is mulling. With that, we're slipping into a quick break here. We'll be right back.